Look what we have here.
Well done, Draco.
Hello everyone, nice to see you! In today's video I'd like to fix this Bellatrix Lestrange doll from Mattel and make her look a little bit fancier. I planned this as a smaller project because I'm not making a new character and can reuse some of the accessories, but the outfit will be made completely from scratch, and of course I'll give her a new face up. I expected her to have a made-to-move body, but the one she has is also not bad. She has knee and elbow joints, and it's more than enough for the character. They also sculpted her some veins on the hands, which is a cool detail, but I won't blush them because I think it might make her hands look old. So I go straight to the face-up. As usual, I used pure acetone to remove her face, but it was harder to remove than usual. What is this? No eyebrows, gang? You don't need to copy the Dark Lord in everything, sweetheart. After a while, I finally managed to remove her face up and found out that she has molded eyelids. In my first attempt, I tried to work with what I've got and draw over them, but it was difficult and didn't look good. So in my second attempt to do her face, I've decided to sand them down because I definitely want to place her eyes lower than this. And since I am messing with her face mold already, I've decided to correct her jawline as well. It is true that Helena has pretty pronounced cheekbones and jawline, but her face is still more round and gentle than this. Right now she reminds me more of William Dafoe than Helena Bonham Carter, to be honest.
Well, Dafoe.
Now it looks a lot better and I can prime her face with MSC and start working on the face-up. I rarely sand doll faces, mostly because it leaves rough texture, especially in places which are hard to reach with sandpaper, like eyes for example. It's been more than a year since I started working with dolls, and right now I feel way more confident in my face-ups. I think the biggest difficulty for me back then was working with pastels, because here you need to predict how it will look after you seal the layer. Like, white pastels become almost transparent, when dark pastels become more intense, and you can only see that something doesn't quite work when it's too late. So I think that understanding the medium you are working with is one of the most important things that comes only with experience, and the best thing you can do is to learn from mistakes. So the most important things I've learned from my mistakes is that it's better to use less pigmented pastels and build up layers. And I use the darker colors last because they are harder to correct. And in this particular face-up, I really liked how this cold pink color works for the dark circles under her eyes. So she looks more like a tired, mysterious lady who doesn't like sunshine, and less like a panda. While sanding her face, I accidentally scratched her cheek with a Dremel, but I've decided to use it to my advantage by coloring it red and making it look like a scar or scratch that adds more detail to the character.
We don't make mistakes. We have happy accidents.
Also, you may have noticed that the video quality has improved, and it was made possible thanks to my supporters who bought me a coffee. With their donations, I could afford a better lighting equipment, and I've been thinking what could I do to reward people in exchange, and I've decided to give away a free doll commission to one of my supporters after I reach 100 coffees, and I'll count every coffee as a lottery ticket. I think it will be fair, and I decided to make it a commission because I'd like the winner to have a doll that's personal to them and their specific taste. So if you would like to participate as well, I'll leave the link in the description box. Thank you! At first, while sketching and everything, I used some references from the movie to get proportions right, but somewhere in the middle I just started to draw how I felt will look good, and I ended up with pretty dark and intense makeup that represents my own aesthetics more than the character. However, I think it still fits Bellatrix a lot, doesn't it? Oh wait, it might be Marla from Fight Club as well. Damn, I wanted to make Bellatrix. Anyway, let's move to the outfit. The doll was wearing a dress with white belt, but I decided to rather go for the outfit with leather jacket, because it's more interesting for me as a tailor, especially the texture on her sleeves, which I'm excited to recreate in the doll scale. So I start with making a basic pattern using my usual technique and then turn it into the dress pattern. I don't know what her dress looks like under that vest, so I'll just assume that it's similar to her other dresses, because everything else looks really similar. So I replace the dart with gatherings and make shoulders a bit longer to make sure this part of the dress will be visible through the vest. After I've cut out the top part, I iron the seam allowances around her neck hole and armholes, and now I glue them to the dress using glue for textile. It's a special glue, so the dress can be washed as well and the glue will stay. And I chose to use glue on these parts because it will also protect the cuts from getting frayed. And then I covered these parts with lace as well to make them look nicer and strong enough for the lacing, which I'm going to add last. Now I can do the side seams and gatherings on the chest. When I was little, I absolutely loved Harry Potter books, and I think Harry Potter is one of them rare franchises where movie adaptations are just as good as the books. It's one of the movies that you can rewatch every year to get into the Christmas mood and feel cozy when the cold season starts. I don't know how many times I've seen the movies already, but every time I watch them, it gives me some food for thought. And it's not just about Professor Snape being a nice guy, but look, from the very beginning, the books and the movies are telling us that Gryffindor is the best house in Hogwarts, right? And all of the bad holes are going to Slytherin. And that's what I thought as a kid as well, because it's literally what the book says. But now I think that Gryffindor is way too overrated. Like, James Potter was a bully way worse than Malfoy, but was still presented to us as a hero. And it's true that most of the dark wizards are coming from Slytherin, but that's because they're ambitious. Being ambitious is not bad. These people are just standing out more, and especially if they are evil, they get the most attention. There's lots of smart kids as well who just want to find their place in this life, and they can't really show their good side because everyone else labeled them as bad people, totally ignoring the fact that they all are individuals and they won't join the Dark Lord just because they are coming from the same house. But who is the real butthole of the franchise is Professor Dumbledore. Like, every year, all of the students are working hard, doing their best to earn points, and in the end of the semester, Dumbledore gives Gryffindor just enough points out of nowhere to make sure they win. So he is definitely biased here, and if I was in any other house and had to endure his BS like this, seeing my effort being totally ignored every year, I would be the first person in line joining the Dark Lord, definitely. And it becomes an easy choice, especially if everyone assumes you are a bad person already without giving you a chance to prove yourself. So, long story short, I don't see Slytherin as bad people. I see them more like ambitious nerds who were bullied in school or by family and then became successful despite everything they have been through. And they can become good or bad, but they all are fighters. And Gryffindor is more like these popular kids from school sport team or cheerleaders who are not really smart but confident, and they can totally be bad people even though the society is praising them. Ravenclaw are classic nerds who live in their own world, like one of them classic professors who is obsessed with their work and don't care what's happening around them. And Hufflepuff are like the majority of people, like essential workers living a simple life and doing all of the labor. This is how I see it though, and I am interested to see your opinions in the comments down below. So the dress is ready, and now we come to the hardest part, the sleeves. In order to create texture on the sleeves, I'm going to use a fabric smoking technique called arrowheads or dragon scales. It was also used on the Daenerys Targaryen dress in Game of Thrones, and there are lots of tutorials on how to make this in the internet, so if you're interested you can check them out. I make them in the doll scale, so it might be a bit difficult to follow what I'm doing. So first of all I need to draw all of the guidelines with a sharp white pencil. And then connect dots into triangles and tighten them together. And like this, slow and steady, I get dragon scales on the other side of the fabric. Each sleeve took me about 6 hours together, but it was fun and the result is fabulous. When I'm done gathering, I ironed the sleeves and stitched all of the allowances to the sleeves. I also glued the edges to secure them and prevent from getting frayed. Now everything is ready for lacing. I didn't make a tight knot in the end and left the ends a bit longer to make the dress undressable. It will be still troublesome, but can be done if needed. Now comes the best. I use the same basic pattern I used for the dress, but I'm going to hide the dart on her chest into one of the seams. Luckily, artificial leather doesn't get frayed and I can keep the seam allowances very tiny, and the outfit won't look bulky in the end. The bad part is that my sewing machine was completely refusing to work with it, and I had to make all of the seams by hand. I've attached a ribbon under the buttons because the main material is stretchy and it might get deformed if you pull the buttons too often. But like this, it's safe, just like if I made it for a human. Ta-da! Luckily, the doll had all of the accessories I need, so I can just buff them up a bit. In the movie, Bellatrix has worn out looking shoes, so I dry brushed them with ivory. Before that, I did some preparations like sanding down all of the seams from the mold and spraying them with MSC, because it makes the paint stick better. I did the same thing with her wand holster, but replaced the belts with leather ones. I think it looks a bit nicer. And the same goes for the pendant. I'd like to replace the plastic string with a real one and paint the skull with black and silver acrylic paints. Looks so much better, doesn't it? And now we can put everything together. I think this doll has one of the best outfits I've made so far, especially the sleeves are giving her such a nice edge. Don't hesitate to write your opinion in the comments. I really enjoy interacting with you people, and it also helps the channel growth, isn't it great? Subscribe if you are not subscribed yet, and see you in my next video. Thanks for watching, bye!